You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. And thank you.
Coming to you from some far point station, like a cosmic tumbleweed, both north and south of the Pleiades. Here's your host, Gary Anderson.
And boy, we had beautiful weather here down at the compound, down in beautiful Gig Harbor, Washington. I tell you what, I looked out the window today, beautiful skies, nice weather, not cold, not rain. James told me this morning, 70 degrees, blue skies in Ohio. Well, Earth changes. It's real weird. Big shout out to Dreamland and to Barb and whoever else is listening here tonight on Night Dreams Talk Radio. James, go ahead and finish now. We are all done with the breaks.
Yeah, I was just going to say, why wouldn't the aliens be abducting them too? I mean, that would really explain why they've been seen together, aliens and Bigfoot. Now, I haven't come across any data in all my research over 30 plus years that really supports alien or Bigfoot being an alien. I've only researched that really supports at this moment that they're a flesh and blood being. However, I'm not closed-minded. If I come across something, I would love to prove otherwise. That's where I stand so far at this moment, but that could change. Who knows?
Well, can I say something real quick? These aliens that come down and UFOs and abduct people, don't you think they also, if they've never been to our planet before, maybe they're not just abducting people, they're abducting horses, cattle, deer, foxes, and whatever, everything. So not just Bigfoot. They're just maybe curious what our farm is like on this planet.
Yeah, you actually bring up a good point. I was actually doing a lot of research on UFOs in zoo-type situations on UFOs, and I came across a lot of accounts. Matter of fact, Preston Dennett, he sent me a couple as well. But anyways, you should hear the animal descriptions on a lot of these UFOs. I mean, you have stuff that's mixed with other animals you wouldn't even think, like a reptilian with a tiger, people said they saw on board, but then you also have ones, people do mention a Bigfoot here and there, but what I wanted to say was about the aliens and the UFOs is, what about Skinwalker Ranch? I mean, you had scientists out there doing work, and I guess, and a lot of people know this account where the two were sitting on a ridge there and they saw that a portal open up, and basically, I guess some type of a Bigfoot come through it. It's just crazy. I mean, and that's scientists seeing this stuff. So I mean, it's stuff like that just you throw your hat back in there. It's like, what do I do with that? You know what I mean? That's just wild.
Okay, now another question I want to ask you. You messaged me, Ryan, about Goatman account. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I actually was asked if I could finish the one I guess I was on. I guess a listener asked. So what I was going to say is this is a great account, by the way. This happened back in the 60s, I believe. I don't want to get the state wrong, so I'm not even going to mention it. But I know the account. So a guy that lived about 2 miles from another man. They didn't know each other. Though I guess the one night it was about 4 in the morning, he heard his dog yelping outside. So he went outside, and there he saw this man. He said he had hair legs, but he definitely had hooves. He could see because the outside light was pointing towards the backyard, and he had hooves for sure, and he definitely had horns on top of his head. Now I guess he was trying to get his dog. And he got, I guess he ran back in to get his gun. But when he ran back out, he could see it running away still. It wasn't gone. He could still see it running away. Now, I guess a couple nights later, another man that lived, like I said, a couple miles away, he heard, I guess because I guess he had some type of a bird bath or something back there in his backyard. Anyway, so he goes outside, he sees the same thing. But this man thinks it's the devil. He really did. He thought it was the devil. I think he actually said at one point he broke down to his knees because he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And, at that point, the goat man saw him and turned around and started walking back into the woods. But that's what I was going to say is, because there's not too many goat man accounts out there, but the ones that are out there, they're pretty good to listen to.
Well, I think the goat man you're talking about, Ryan, is from Maryland, and there's another famous one in Kentucky. But here's the thing about the goat man I think you're talking about there in Maryland. There is Maryland, Eastern Pennsylvania, and Jersey. That whole little area, that's not very far apart of each other. Now, you've got that same description almost kind of fits the Jersey Devil as well. Again, is it the same things they're seeing with different names, different descriptions a little bit?
Yeah.
It kind of makes you think about these things.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about the Jersey Devil. You're right.
And Gary, he knows very well, there was a picture of one in that same area, 3-4 months ago that surfaced.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, those the same area. Yeah. So that's something to think about too. A lot of these things too. They've got even Bigfoot. In different parts of the country, they have different names for them. There's Momo. Here we call him Grass Man. They call him Sasquatch out west. They call him Folk Monster, Honey Island Monster. There's different names all over. The skunk bait, whatever.
For sure.
I just think there's a lot of things out there in nature that we don't know exist. And that is what is scary. Yes, maybe goat man does exist or something that looks like a goat man. Again, we have all these other creatures. Bigfoot, I don't know what it is. I didn't go shake its hand. I can tell you I wouldn't want to shake its hand the way it smelled. I'll tell you that. But now, let's kind of shift off to UFOs.
All right.
Here's the thing. I started back in 76 doing talk radio. The UFO thing didn't start hitting, I would say, to like the early 80s. And all of a sudden, I would be doing, different talk shows on different stations. And all of a sudden, people would start, calling in up saying they saw this UFO. It was like 50 feet or 100 foot in diameter. And it was mainly back then a saucer. And all these reports I would get are not like what we're getting today. Now, in 40-some years, their technology has gone as far as a 50 to 100-foot UFO to a size of a Walmart store and triangle.
Yeah.
But it is changed. Now, I'm going to tell you a story, then you guys can both come up with your stories. I had an interview with a guy here about a year ago. He wrote a book about the Aurora incident in Texas, where a UFO came in and hit the windmill or whatever it was and then crashed. Now, I got to know the guy enough that his father, when he was a kid in the 60s, worked as a dispatcher in a small town in the Midwest. Now, they got a report of a UFO landing in the parking lot of their hospital. Okay, now I thought, okay, I didn't believe the guy. Now, I will say this. I did get a hold of the library. I did some research, and back at that time frame, they had a reporting of a UFO landing by the hospital. It's documented. It was in the newspaper. Now, when they sent the police out there, there was no UFO. But the blacktop was like, it's still like smoking and burning. It kind of made it like a circle around where the UFO landed. And there was like mercury droplets all around it. Now they freaked out. They, put, the, don't cross in here, police line type of tape up all around the thing. But there was nothing there. So they kind of like, they didn't see it, but they did see the round burnt into the asphalt where it melted it. Okay. Well, the next morning, the very first thing, they go out again during daylight to inspect the scene where the so-called UFO landed. And it was blacktopped. Just in the middle of the night, somebody decided to blacktop the parking lot. Now, the hospital didn't request it. There was nothing set up on it. But there was talk on the radio about this UFO landing there and all this stuff. I'm wondering if the government got involved. Now, also, about 25 miles away from where this UFO supposedly landed and then took back off, there were some people having a picnic at a lake. And lo and behold, and this is about 25 miles away, the next morning from where this UFO landed, right? They saw a UFO come out of the lake and kind of hover and take off. And it was more than 2 or 3 people that saw it. There was a bunch of people that saw it. Now, I started doing research when he said that. Maybe, now I'm just assuming this, okay? And you know what happens when you assume things. That maybe that UFO had a problem when it came into our atmosphere. It had to touch down for a minute to either cool down or something. Now, a lot of scientists say that for the used in these motors or whatever in these UFOs, they use mercury for some reason. Now, my feeling is, from everything I gathered from the newspaper report, what the guy said, because it was very detailed about what his father told him. And also, he went the next morning and looked, and, it was freshly blacktopped. But maybe that craft had to come down, touch down, cool down for a few minutes, take off, and it still didn't cool down enough, and look for water to immerse itself in to cool down. And that's hence it went into the lake, did whatever repairs they had to do or whatever they had to do, and it took off. So there's my story.
Yeah, that's a
good one there.
That what you're talking about there with that asphalt tube being removed, the Cache Landrum event, they came and removed overnight that part of the stretch of the road.
Yep.
They didn't remove it. They didn't remove. They repaved it with blacktop.
Yeah, they repaved it all.
Yeah, with new blacktop down in the middle of the night. So was it the guys in the black? Was it the military or some other organization that came in there because they reported and who could do that really fast? The government could if they wanted to.
For sure. Yeah, and the Cache Landrum one, the Army came in and actually paved it. That's what the witnesses said.
Yeah, exactly. And there was 23 black helicopters that they counted, and that was all 3 of them said that. And, there's been a lot of research and reports, and some of the people we've had on here interviewed that are kind of big names also said the same thing. I kind of think that it was ours. It was experimental nuclear one thing of ours, and it kind of went wrong and rogue or something. And because look at the radiation cancer and radiation burns that they experienced.
That ruined their life.
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, there's things going on. And, I mean, do you buy these stories? Are you familiar, either one of you, about the Aurora crash of the UFO?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yep. As a matter of
Oh, good.
I was going to say, matter of fact, supposedly there was a body, and they buried it along a tree there, but then people came along to try to get it. Then they supposedly put it along with some pieces down a well, and people drank all that well and got cancer.
Okay, what they did was they took the body and put it in their local cemetery and encased it with cement.
Yep.
Okay.
But there was MUFON came looking for it, and then they moved it that night. And then when he came back, the metal detector didn't hit on it anymore. And the judge ended up getting cancer in his hands, but it was arthritis from as well. Is that Judge Proctor or whatever?
Yeah, because what they did is they